So I've just got the engine on the test stand. I'm not running this one because I don't have the ECU or the engine harness, or the car seat wiring harness. But I do mount it on the test stand, fill it with oil and just spin it over just to make sure that everything's lubricated and that it does build pressure. And even though the oil will be cold and it's thick, we'll let it sit for a while and make sure there's no leaks, but I don't think there will be. So as you can see, I've got the gauge hooked up, and that's the green idiot light that usually goes out at about, 10 psi? I don't remember the spec, but it's got a new switch on there. Charge light, that won't go out because the alternator is not going to be spinning fast enough to do anything. The engine won't be running. And the oil pressure gauge, and I usually like to see about 1 bar of pressure on the gauge when it's spinning over with the starter motor. I do have a high torque starter on here, and it does tend to spin a little bit slower than the normal original ones, but it should be good enough for this purpose. So let's hit it and we'll see how quickly the lights go out. So you can hear how quickly the starter's turning over. It's not very fast at all, but it does build pressure fairly quickly. The green light goes out straight away, and the gauge starts to read pressure almost instantaneously, so that means all the oil circuits are full. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with it. So this is, I'll just give you a quick walk around. It's a 3.2 Carrera, and it's been bored out, well not bored out, but the client has supplied some larger pistons and cylinders and high compression, so we're running slightly higher compression. I think it's 10-1, Marley Motorsport. And yeah, everything's been reconditioned. Things like the alternator have been checked, everything's been zinc plated and cerakoted. The distributor was rebuilt because this one, the shafts were actually seized and the bob weights were doing nothing. So even though the ECU does control ignition timing, they do need to be able to rope to spin, and the weights need to be able to swing out in order to phase the rotor correctly with each plug. Just going to push that on properly in a minute. New distributor cap because it had the original one, which is all cracked. New spark plug leads. Obviously timing chains, bearings, ARP rod bolts, etc, etc. And yeah, the whole thing's been rebuilt. So I hope you like it. And if you want to see more work like this, please subscribe, like the video, and yeah, maybe even send it to some of your friends to have a look. And even if you've got some bad comments, by all means, fire away. Any sort of publicity is potentially good publicity, so maybe I'll just be in the corner crying in the fetal position if you say too many bad things. But yeah, by all means, if you see anything here you don't like, by all means, hit me up.